Hi guys, Clara here, and due to a few requests I've gotten from you, today I'll be making some clay robots. I'm going with the typical gray color for the robots and flattening a ball until I have a wide enough flat surface to work with. My first robot is going to be more squarish in shape, so I cut out a rectangular shape for the body. Not perfect, but good enough, and I'm doing the same with a smaller ball of clay for the head. So this is what we have so far. For all the limbs and attaching pieces, I'm choosing a slightly darker gray to create a bit of contrast. Now I'm first rolling the ball into a log. Cut the log into 4 equal sections. I had to re-roll them a bit since the blade smushed the edges, but then I was ready to add texture. I kept it simple and went with a tube look for the arms and legs. To do this, I placed a blade on top of the log and dragged it across. As long as I kept the log straight, the blade would create a line that ended up joining with the start of the line. Now to go with these tube-looking things, I'm going to add the hands and feet using the same light gray we used for the head and the body. Similar to the arms and legs, we are rolling out a log and cutting it into 4 equal parts. Roll out each section, and then let's start with the feet. I'm just pressing the clay against the table to flatten the bottom and create a dome shape. Using a little liquid Sculpey, I attached the legs to the feet. The other 2 balls of clay I flattened and cut into equal rectangles for the hands. I just placed them at the end of each arm and pinched the ends together so that the hands resembled more of a claw shape. Kind of like a Lego hand. Back to the body, it's time to attach the head with another little tube-like piece. I don't want to wreck this good thing I got going, so a little trip to the oven to solidify all the work I've done so far. With it now a solid piece, I can now add all the details without fear of messing it up. First, for the body, I thought a control panel of sorts would look cool. And of course, I have to add liquid Sculpey to attach the clay, because baked and unbaked clay do not stick together. Once attached, I cut out a square section where I decided would be a good spot for a display screen. I chose a turquoise color, because why not? And it took a bit to finesse and wiggle it in place, but then it was time for the buttons. I pre-poked the holes so the buttons would sit flush on the panel. The same color for the screen is used for the mouth, since I thought it would look nice for them to match. To make the eyes, I squished down a ball of dark gray clay and added a small ball of black to the center. I also gave the mouth a grid design before adding everything to the face. It wasn't as easy as I thought it'd be, so some adjusting was required. I also ended up adding a grid texture to the screen on the panel, so now it kind of looks more like buttons to me, but I guess it's not a bad thing. Okay, so this is where the biggest fail of the robot happened. Now I thought about leaving this part out, but it just felt wrong to erase it and pretend it never happened. I wouldn't want you to think I'm actually skilled or anything, because sculpting clay isn't always the easiest. Looking back, it was not the best plan. I mean, look at him. This also gave me the time to reflect and realize that I didn't like the feet, and then decided to bake all the pieces together, but separately. And once they were cool to the touch, some super glue was all it needed. I sanded some of the ends with a nail file so that they would attach more evenly, but it didn't take long until my robot was finally one piece. I think he looks so cute, and I love his little walking stance I placed him in. Makes it real easy to play make-believe. Do. Don't mind me. Just plotting world domination. I need to change my oil. Okay, that's one robot done, but robots are like dogs. You can't have just one. My robot needs a friend. I went with the squarish design the first time round, so let's change that up. This time, I'm rolling our light gray clay into a thick cylinder shape. Cut off the ends into the size you want your robot body to be, then roll it out a few times to round up the squished down ends. You can also flatten the ends against the table for an even flatter surface, and then we can move on to the head. Taking a smaller gray ball, I'm using my blade to cut off only 1/3 of the clay. The remainder will be shaped into a tall dome, which apparently is very hard for my slippery fingers to grasp. Once again, I'm attaching the head to the body with a little tube connector piece, trying to keep it nice and centered between the two. Then it's off to the oven so we can attach our details without consequences. Cutting out another section so I can place a display screen just above where the buttons will go. And now for his face. It's going to be super easy. Flatten the center of a small dark gray ball, then add a small ball of turquoise and squish it in place for the eye. Add a dot of liquid Sculpey to the back and glue it in place. I'm using a flat silicone tool to push the edges against the face for a flush look. And that's it. The face is that simple. Okay, so for the rest of the body, you've already seen this part, so I'll make it quick. But I did change a few things up. The tube looking thing stayed the same, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But for the hands, I wanted round hands for our round robot. So after rolling out a tiny log and splitting into 4 rounded pieces, I made small indents on a small ball of gray clay where I wanted the fingers to go. I did 3 indents next to each other, then a 4th indent off to the side for the robot's thumb. Insert all the fingers in place and you got yourself a hand. Repeat those steps and you find yourself with 2 hands. Wow. For the feet, I decided to do the feet I originally made for the first robot, but make them better. I took some balls of clay and I cut off a small portion of it to create a dome shape. This meant that the bottom stayed flatter and the edges looked more crisp. Make 2 of those and attach them to the legs. Hopefully you don't struggle as much as I do. Time for the hands, and here I decided to bend the arms a little bit since the first robot was looking a little stiff. Though maybe stiff is a good look for a robot. But whatever, I've already bent them. Let's move on. You may also notice I snuck in a little antenna. Guess you'll never know how I made that one. A couple legs and arms later, and our robot is done. I love how this one turned out. He looks like he's in a real hurry. And I think our robots look really good together. Hey, robot, he's trying to talk to you. Don't be rude. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys, so hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to let me know down in the comments, but other than that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye!